Hi, this is Doug Devitre, author of Screen to Screen Selling, and today I'm going to share with you how to use the St. Louis Business Journal's Book of Lists in order to generate more business, in order to identify customers as individuals, but more importantly, how to build relationships effectively using social media and then some of the other tools that are out there. You can see right now that I'm actually logged into the St. Louis Business Journal's inside of my subscriber account page. And then also it says I have here 14 issues remaining, which is a good reminder for me to renew. Down here below where it says subscriber content, you're going to look at the Book of Lists. Now, if I were to click on this link here, Book of Lists, it's going to take me to a very nice digital PDF that then, it's great because it gives me all the information that I could potentially want about business owners, about some of the corporations here in St. Louis. But the challenge is with going some of this list, it doesn't put it in a user-friendly format in order for us to be able to extract the data that we need to put into our customer relationship manager or CRM, or maybe inside of some of our technology tools, so then that way we can be proactive in contacting these specific individuals. So if I just kind of skip through here, I just want to show you one of the lists so you kind of get an idea as far as the content and then how we can kind of use that content a little bit differently. So right here, here's an example of top of the lists. This is a category inside of the St. Louis Book of Lists. And so it'll give the company's name, ranking, the executive, but then you're going to ask yourself, well, gosh, great to have their name and their company, but maybe I want their phone number, maybe I want their physical address, or maybe I want their email. So if we actually go back here to down here where the Book of Lists, there's going to be a link when you do download and you subscribe where you can actually download the Excel spreadsheet, or it's actually called a CSV file, which is all the data from the Book of Lists. Now, I'm going to show you why that's important. Is I'm going to actually go into the Excel database that you would receive if you made that investment. So right now, this is what's called the combined list, which means that it takes all of the data and all the contact information and puts into you can see all the columns just kind of spans here. But we don't need all of the columns. We're going to just start with one idea or one tip that you can use this to be a little bit successfully. So really what we're using is Microsoft Excel here in order to operate this CSV file. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this data and we're going to filter it. So I click on this little filter button up here, and then it turns the top row here, classification, into the categories inside of the Book of Lists that I can then sort through and then obviously select the one that I want. So right now, because I want to get real specific, in sales we can probably sell everybody something, but we'll be better off by being very targeted in our approaches and maybe starting with one list rather than just try to go on. Because you try to work the entire list or the entire Book of Lists right off the bat, you're going to get overwhelmed. You're not going to get it done. So I'm going to click on this little arrow here, and I'm going to click Select All, which actually deselects all the ones that are out there. And I'm just going to choose, for example purposes, accounting firms. So I've identified inside of my business strategy that I only want to target accounting firms, just as a start. So it's going to give me all of the accounting firms that have matched that specific field, right? So then I have to think about, well, gosh, how can I now I have the addresses, now I have the phone numbers, but really what we want here is the email address. And the reason why is, I'm going to go ahead and write this down because this is an important point, is that the email address is the gateway to the social media platforms. So in other words, if somebody uses the same email address that they gave for the Book of Lists for, let's say, LinkedIn, then what we can do is we can then target those individuals on LinkedIn because we have their email address. So I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. So right now for email, there's some companies who did not submit an email address, so we're just going to skip those for the meantime. And what we're going to do is we're going to sort for all those individuals who did give their email address. So it's a nice way of just being able to pull up all these individuals. So I'm not going to select every one of these, but I'm going to select maybe, let's say, the first top 10. And I'm going to copy these emails. So I'd right click or Control C is a shortcut for copy, and then copy it to the clipboard. And then I'm going to go to my email account, which I use Gmail. You may use Outlook. It's fine. And then I'm going to act like I'm composing a message that I'm going to send to these individuals. Well, I'm not going to send them all one email because that would be spam. We're going to actually use a better way to be a little bit more targeted in our approach. So I'm just going to paste all of the emails into Gmail as if I was sending them an individual email. Well, because I use this tool, and actually I'm going to show this to you in a variety of different ways here, is that this tool on the right-hand side is called Reportive. So right now you can see how I can actually see Wendy's name. I can see which company she's with. I can actually see who she's connected with. So gosh, guess who I'm going to reach out to first? I'm probably going to reach out to my buddy Tom to say, hey Tom, do you know Wendy? Can you introduce me to Wendy before I would even send Wendy an email, or maybe before I even decide to connect with Wendy on LinkedIn? The problem with today is that because we have access to information and then to other people's social networks so quickly, we really have to be strategic in our approaches and really leverage the relationships we already have. So then that way it's a very smooth introduction to Wendy rather than just connecting. Because gosh, how many times are you getting an invitation to connect on LinkedIn? So maybe now that I have this on the list, maybe I pick up Tom on the phone and I call him and I say, Tom, can you introduce me to Wendy? Tom's a friend of mine. He says, sure, why not? And so then it's an easy way to build and start that relationship rather than just, what you could potentially see here is now that you have everyone's email address, what you don't want to do is select all of the email addresses here and then put them into an email list and then just be seen as spam, and then it actually works in reverse from what you intended to do. So this is just one of the tips we're going to be covering in the seminar December 17th for the St. Louis Business Journal. I'll go ahead and write that down just in case you didn't already and you haven't seen this part of the marketing we've been putting out. So it's December 17th. And we'll make sure that it's a breakfast. I think it's 7:30 to 9. So bring your colleagues, bring your friends, invite others, because this is one of those seminars that's going to help launch you forward in 2016.